Well, then there were four. We are down to the Final Four in the NFL. Championship Sunday is set, and it follows a wild divisional weekend. Two classics yesterday. Brett and I went over the two Saturday games yesterday with the Chiefs advancing as they go for their third straight title. They did not play great, but they did what they have to do. The Chiefs win games, right? That's what they do. They win regardless of how they play. Andy Reid and crew, they just find a way to win no matter what goes on. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Bob Walters. This is Locked Up Sports, and we had the Bills and the Ravens was every bit as good as we thought it would be, and I was surprised at how good the Rams and the Eagles game was. In the snow, a classic. The comeback by the Rams at the end. The Eagles got lucky. The Eagles did not play very well yesterday. If it wasn't for Saquon Barkley, he was the whole team. He was the whole offense. And it was basically two runs. Now, I know he ran for 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. Listen, Saquon Barkley, and if you're a Giants fan, you got to be kicking yourself, right? You were too bad of a team to have Saquon Barkley even make an impact like he made with the Eagles. And you were too good to get Jaden Daniels as a draft pick. You were just in the middle, and it's a bad spot to be, and it's bad luck, and it is what it is. And those two will face each other next week for a right to go to the Super Bowl. The Commanders and the Eagles in an NFC clash with the Super Bowl on the line. Never saw that coming. But as far as yesterday's games go, listen, they were two classics. The first one, the Rams just turned the ball over. They couldn't move the ball in the second half. They were getting sacked. Stafford was getting killed. They couldn't move the ball at all. And then Saquon Barkley ran and put the nail in the coffin with about 5-6 minutes left. An 80 or 70-yard touchdown run. The game was over. The place was going berserk. They were starting to celebrate in Philly. And then before you know it, Stafford got the ball, and it's bang, 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 bang into the end zone. And all of a sudden, it's okay. Here come the Rams. They went down the field in about a minute and a half, stuck it in the end zone, and because the Eagles had missed an extra point, it was now a 6-point game. The Eagles kicker, he hit multiple big field goals, and he missed the extra point, and now the Rams had the ball with a chance to take it down the field, put it in the end zone, and go to the championship Sunday. Well, they got down. They had Nakua made a great catch on a great throw by Stafford down the right sideline, and they were in business. Under 2 minutes to go, ball inside the 20, down by 6. It looked like that game turned on a dime. It went from the Eagles nail in the coffin, Saquon big is the hero, everybody celebrating, within 2 minutes to, the Eagles might lose this thing. And the Eagles came up with a huge play on third down. They get a sack that pushes the Rams back to make it a 4th and 11, which they don't convert on, and the Eagles survive. And that's what they did. They survived because they did not play very well. Hurts was 15 of 20 for 128 yards. The Eagles had 350 total yards of offense. The Rams had 405 yards of total offense. You had a team with 400 yards of total offense and a team with 500 yards of total offense. Both of them lost their games this weekend. All 4 teams that lost had more total yards in the game than the teams that won. You never see that. Never. And if it wasn't for Saquon Barkley and him running free and missed tackles, then the Eagles would be out. They'd be playing golf with the Lions. But the Rams made too many mistakes in that second half. They waited too long to get it going. And they just fell short on that final drive. And that sack on third down of Stafford was huge because all the momentum was on the Rams side. Somehow they got it back because when Barkley went into the end zone there for 70 yards, put it away, it was over. And in the blink of an eye, the Rams put it in the end zone. Then they got a stop that they needed, got the ball back. And then after that big play down the right sideline to Nakua, which was a great catch, you was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Oh my God, the Rams are gonna win this thing. And that's how they played all year. You kind of never saw them coming. All of a sudden they were out. They were having a rough season, not a great season, and then you turn around and they're right there in the lead in their division. You're like, okay, maybe this team is good. And with everything going on in LA, it just kind of felt like Stafford's going to put this thing in the end zone and he's going to take them to the championship game. But the sack on third down really put them in a bind, to put them in a bad spot, a 4th and 11. And listen, they just couldn't convert. The Eagles hang on 28-22 in what was a classic game with the snow and they're clearing off the places for the kickers. Listen, it was as a good aesthetically pleasing football game as you will watch. It's what everyone's like, oh, we want the snow game. We want the great game. Come back down to the last play. Jalen Hurts did get hurt a little bit. I think he was hurt because he didn't play very well. They didn't throw the ball very much. He didn't run like he usually does. But again, Saquon Barkley, he did what he does. We saw it here with the Giants. He's a great runner. It's just you can't win with just a great runner, and that's what he was with the Giants. He was their team. The Eagles got lucky. They were able to put 28 points on the board because Hurts, it was the Rams did not play very well through most of this game. That first drive, they let Hurts go down the field, and the Eagles missed the extra point. And then all of a sudden, the Rams scored. They're up, but it didn't feel like the Rams were playing really as well as the Eagles. The Eagles had control of the game, and then they kind of took it over. Saquon took it over. Where he did the classic shot where he's looking at Hurts before the snap, and he says, "Watch this." Hands him the ball, and he goes 70 yards to the house. That was it. That was the game. The Eagles kind of relaxed. They laid back, and the Rams right then finally figured it out, right? They went right down the field. I think it was partly the Eagles were playing soft on defense. They were playing kind of a prevent, keep everything in front of them, give them the pass, but it got dangerous. So the Eagles will play the Commanders next Sunday, and I'm not really sure what to think about this. We're not going to go over next Sunday's games right here, but just a quick look at it. Listen, Jaden Daniels is kind of, flying by the seat of his pants. He doesn't really get where he's at as far as history goes, and one win from the Super Bowl. He's just kind of out there playing, and it's all going right for the Commanders. Now, it's going to be a lot different next week. You're not in a dome. You're not going to score 45 points. You're probably not going to put up, 400 yards of offense. The defense better play better because the Eagles' offense will play better. And if you get bad weather, listen, it could go either way. But a very interesting side. And then yesterday, the late game yesterday was the one everybody's been waiting for. We waited all year for it. The Bills, the Ravens, for a trip to go to Arrowhead and take on the mighty Chiefs. And this game, listen, you got to feel, of course, we all know what happened with the 2-point conversion. All right, Andrews dropped it. Andrews, you could not have a worse game than he had. He's one of the top tight ends in the league. He's in the fourth quarter. He's running free across the middle of the field with the ball. He gets it punched out, fumble, turnover. Biggest play of the game right there. All the momentum was with the Ravens. And then to get a chance to redeem himself and drop just the easiest of catches. It was a Jackie Smith, if you know the play in the Super Bowl with the Cowboys. It was a Jackie Smith-esque play. Where the announcer, he's got to be the sickest man in America. That play. And as far as Lamar Jackson goes and Allen, listen, Allen didn't play great. They didn't need him to play great because the Ravens turned the ball over. And if you look at all four of these games, and the most important thing is holding on to the ball and protecting the ball and not turning it over. Don't give the other team the ball. And look at the Ravens. The Ravens they were the better team yesterday. Just look at the quarterback numbers. Lamar Jackson, 18 of 25, 254, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Josh Allen, 16 of 22, 127. And neither of them really ran for a bunch of yards. Lamar Jackson did not run like he usually does. Allen, they used to run short distance. He did score 2 touchdowns. But listen, this game was 21-10 at half. And another huge play, and it's an officiating thing again. The officials, listen, I know it's hard to officiate these games. That it's a lot going on. That it's fast. It's tough to see everything. I don't know how you fix it. I'm not getting into that today. But that pass interference call at the end of the half was clearly an offensive pass interference. I sat here on my couch and I said, it's got to be pass. It's got to be offense. I don't even know why the receiver's cheering. He clearly pushed off of him. Now, you could say they were both hand-checking each other and maybe no call, but if anything, it had to be on the offense. They call it against the Ravens. It's 1st and goal. Huge touchdown before the half for the Bills. Puts them up 21-10. And then in the second half, the Bills did nothing. They couldn't get anything going. The Ravens came out right down the field into the end zone. Now, they couldn't run the ball like they wanted to. Derrick Henry, not a great. He didn't get his 170 yards that he's been getting every week this year. Derrick Henry went for 84 yards. And everybody you talk to going into this game thought that Derrick Henry was going to run all over the Bills, have a huge game. Combine it with Lamar Jackson and his rushing yards, and they were going to just control the game, control everything about it. They fell behind. Henry did not have a good game. He had a great drive there. He almost broke one up the middle right off the bat. And Lamar Hamlin got a hand on his feet and tripped him up. So they score, and now they're right back in the game. And if you want to get on Lamar Jackson, I know he turned the ball over. Listen, the interception was bad. He basically threw it up. Nobody there. It was almost like a punt. And the fumble that he had was even worse. He just put the ball on the ground. Picked up and within 2 plays, the Bills are in the end zone. Those are 2 bad turnovers that you can't have, and you can argue that they cost you the game. But when the Ravens needed to get down the field and score a touchdown in the last couple minutes of the fourth quarter, Lamar Jackson took his team down the field, made a brilliant play on the touchdown, scrambling around, throwing, just a great throw. When they needed the 2-point conversion to send the game to overtime, he made the play. It was dropped. There's nothing you could do. It was just it was dropped. Andrews had 3 drops all year. He had 2 in this game. The Ravens barely turned the ball over all year. They turned it over 3 times in this game. Everything else they did right. They were the better team. Especially in that second half, the Bills did nothing. Now, they did kick the field goal on 4th down that ultimately did win them the game in that fourth quarter. But as far as the Bills in the second half, they were holding on for dear life. I think if Andrews makes that catch and falls back into the end zone for the 2-point conversion, I think the Ravens win this game. And then you're talking about Josh Allen. Oh, he was only 16 of 22, 127 yards. What happened? Why didn't he play well? But nobody's saying that today because they won the game. Lamar Jackson, listen, he took his team down the field in the fourth quarter when he needed to. He stuck it in the end zone when he needed to. He made the play in the 2-point conversion when he needed to. But it was dropped, and they lost the game. And now you hear Lamar Jackson, he's a regular season player, can't do it in the playoffs, can't get over the hump. Listen, that's what the playoffs are all about. It's about whether you win or lose. That's the only thing that matters. And Lamar Jackson, who played probably better overall than Josh Allen yesterday, is catching the brunt of the criticism today because of 2 plays. And I get it. Andrews, he's sick. I mean, that drop will be played over and over and over forever in Baltimore. He will never be able to not remember that. He will be reminded of it every day. Whether it's something that he thinks about or a fan yells, he will be remembered for that forever. And it's a shame. He's a good tight end. He's a top of the line tight end. But in the fourth quarter, he fumbled away the ball on a huge drive where they were marching down the field, and he dropped a 2-point conversion that would have sent the game to overtime. And because of that, the Ravens are going home, and the Bills are going to Kansas City for a showdown with the Chiefs. That's what the playoffs are about. That's what makes them so great, and it also makes them so heartbreaking. It's so final. I mean, we waited all year for this game. All year. Everybody knew it was going to come down. Bills, Ravens, winner's going to play the Kansas City Chiefs in the championship game, right? 10 weeks ago, we said that. We got it. It came down to do a 2-point conversion that was executed to perfection, and the guy just dropped it. There's nothing you can do. It's the beauty of sports. It's why we watch. It's why we love it, but it's also just, you feel for him. You could see him kicking himself on the sideline after it because they weren't getting the onside kick. An onside kick, like Nance said, it's 1 in 20. And Lamar Jackson is going to be labeled now as a guy who can't do it in the playoffs. When he did it, he outplayed Josh Allen yesterday. The Ravens were the better team yesterday. They had more total yards. But you know what they had? They had more turnovers. And in the playoffs, it's just the turnovers are magnified to the nth degree. And you cannot give the other team the ball and expect to win the game. You could score less. You could have less yards gained than the other team. You could score less touchdowns. You could have more mistakes. You could have less rushing yards. You can't have more turnovers and win the game. That's it. You got to protect the football. And the Ravens didn't do it. Lamar was careless on the interception in the first half, and it's the first half, so you can get away with it. It's not as magnified as the stuff in the second half with Andrews. But the one where Lamar also, when he put it on the ground, what are you doing? What are you doing? And they made those mistakes. They're going to have to live with them. 27-25, the Bills advance, and now they go to Kansas City, and now that's the next anticipated game. That's the late game on Sunday. You got the Eagles, Washington at 3. You got Bills, Chiefs at 6:30. Championship Sunday, the best single day of football all year, is all set. And then when you look at the Saturday games, listen, Mahomes did not play well on Saturday. The Chiefs did not play well on Saturday. The Chiefs got outgained. They tightened up the defense in the red zone. They gave the kicker for the Texans gave away 7 points, and that was the difference. The Chiefs, that's the problem. That's the thing. The Chiefs can play a bad game, and they're going to win. They find a way. Do they get help from the refs? That's argumentative. They did get a little bit of help. But that you could go back and forth. And I mean, listen, they're a great team. They know how to win. Mahomes, Kelsey, Andy Reid, they're winners. And it's going to be a fascinating game next week with the Bills going in there, trying to knock off the 2-time defending champs trying to be the first team to win 3 straight Super Bowls. And I think whoever wins that game is going to be favored going into the Super Bowl. You know, if somehow the Commanders come out of the NFC, you're going to be looking at like a 8.5, 9-point spread in the Super Bowl, regardless of whether it's the Bills or the Chiefs. So now it's Josh Allen. Can he get over the hump? Josh Allen's been here. He's beaten the Ravens before. It was Lamar Jackson that needed to get over this hump, and he didn't do it. Allen needs to get over now the hump of the Chiefs. And I said that I think it was more important. This was more important as far as legacy goes for Lamar than it was for Josh Allen. Just because Josh Allen, listen, when Josh Allen plays, he lost the couple of games that he lost to the Chiefs. There was nothing else he could do. That game a couple of years ago, he did everything he could do. It was back and forth. It was overtime. It was just whoever had the ball last. You didn't look at that game and be like, oh, if he did this or if he did that or if he did that better. No, he did everything perfect. They just lost. Yesterday, Lamar, almost the same thing, but those 2 turnovers and the drop by Andrews, And listen, when you're the quarterback, you get more blame than you deserve, and you get more credit than you deserve. Derrick Henry also came up small yesterday. 85 yards. Did not. I mean, listen, he's been chipping off 120, 150 yard games weekly. Like they're nothing all year. Yesterday, 84 yards. And the pass interference, listen, that was a bad call. They blew it. The refs blow a lot of. You got to just understand that the refs are going to blow calls. I mean, it's a tough game to officiate. There's a million rules. There's a million interpretations of the rules. They are older men on the field at, with huge 300-pound guys, and it's so fast and there's so much going on. But that pass interference, listen, that can't be called on the defense. You can't call that on the defense. You could see the receiver's arms push out and push him away. You could get away with a no call there. Can't call it on the defense. And the fact that a play like that happens, and we had it in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, if you remember, I don't think pass interference should be a spot foul. I think it should be with what the college rule has, because it's so subjective that you're going to put a spot foul on something that can turn the game. Sometimes it's a 50-yard penalty, pass interference. That was like a 35-yard penalty. Threw it down the sideline. They went from the ball on the 35-yard line to inside the 10-yard line on a questionable call. Scored a touchdown the next play. Changed the game. Instead of 14-10 going in the half, it's 21-10. That's a big, big difference. Credit to the Ravens. They came out. They played well in the second half. Like I said, it was just one of those things. He dropped the ball. He catches that thing 99 times out of 100. Catches it in his sleep 99 times out of 100. And give the Bills credit. Listen, everybody goes and tries to punch that ball out now. You know it's coming. When you're running, you know it's coming. If the guy's coming towards you, he's going to go try and punch it. They're not even trying to tackle them anymore. The guys in the secondary, they don't try to tackle. They go for the ball first. Why? Because turnovers win the game. You could miss a tackle and have him go score a touchdown. But you get that and still win the game. You get that ball on the ground and fall on it. Do that more times than they do. You're going to win. And the Ravens, -3 in the turnover battle. It's a tough pill. It's a tough pill to swallow if you're a Ravens fan, because you don't really know how to think about it with Lamar Jackson. He's a great quarterback. He didn't play his best game yesterday. Played good, played well enough to win. But he wasn't all world. He wasn't rushing he didn't have the rushing yards that he usually has. He made the mistake, the turnover and the fumble, huge mistakes. But he also got him down the field when he needed to, stuck it in the end zone when he needed to, converted the 2-point conversion when he needed to. So, listen, it was a hell of a day. Those were two classic NFL playoff games. That's what playoff football is. And I told you, divisional weekend is the best weekend in football. Next week is the best single day in football. Next week is really the end of the football season, because Super Bowl's kind of different. It's just different. It's a different day. It's everything going on. You got the parties, you got the boxes, everything's going on. But as far as next week, that Bills-Chiefs game is going to be a classic, and I can't wait to see it. Eagles, Washington, 3 o'clock next Sunday, 6:30, Bills in Arrowhead at the Chiefs. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot to talk about. We'll talk about it through the week, and we'll get you ready. It should be a good one. It was a classic after a not very good wildcard weekend. Excellent, classic divisional weekend. You got the Cinderella with the Commanders in the championship Sunday. You got the Eagles, divisional game, a divisional rivalry. And then you got the Bills trying to get past the hump of the Chiefs, and the Chiefs going to try and be the first team ever to win 3 straight Super Bowls and just become an immortal team and arguably in the conversation, the greatest team ever. So you got your storylines. You got everything you could want. Next week, next Sunday, Championship Sunday. It's going to be fun. So that's going to do it for us here today. Remember, rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. If you're listening on the audio end and in the whatever podcast app you're listening to, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave us a review. You can head on over to our website and leave a review. You got something to say? Disagree with what I have to say about any of this? Want to add to the show? Head on over to our website, lockedupsports.net/voicemail. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the air. And, you could have your say in what we talk about. So that does it for us. Again, next Sunday, Championship Sunday, said it's the Eagles and the Commanders, the Bills and the Chiefs. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk to you later in the week, everybody. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. See ya.